Waves last week in his post-game handshake with Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, not to mention his post-game speech where he took shots at Green Bay. And now this week, Johnson faces one of Matt LaFleur's besties in Sean McVay and, of course, Matt's brother Mike, who is the Rams OC. So Johnson was asked today if he was concerned there was any extra motivation by both sides to share game plans this week.
No, that's this league in general. I think every week everyone tries to share what they had from the week before with your next opponent. I think that's common practice, and that's something that you just keep on doing. Like I said all along, there's a million ways you can do things, a million plays you can call. We're going to do what we feel like is best for that particular week with the players that we have going against the opponent that we're going against.
All right, so this Rams defense has struggled, Mina. I mean, if there was a conversation, what should Matt LaFleur have told Sean McVay to be ready for?
Well, I think what's concerning for the Rams is the things they have struggled with are the things that Chicago does well. Crossers, shots off of play action.
Yes.
Over the last 6 weeks, the Rams are 30th in EPA per play versus play action. You saw Bryce Young hit some big plays, the dig to T-Mac off of play fakes. Going back, I watched Jacoby Brissett have a lot of success. He hit a corner route to Trey McBride off of play action. You know who loves to throw the cornerback to their tight end off of play action? Yeah. Caleb Williams. So I think for Chicago, I expect them to lean into their identity on offense because it just matches up well with this Rams defense based on what we've seen.
This game is going to be about contain for this defense with the Rams. We obviously have our concerns about the secondary after we watched Carolina and even Atlanta. To your point, MK, but the secondary plays is where Caleb Williams is breaking people back. And he did it to, obviously, Green Bay. Yeah. So this defensive line, rush, contain, pass rush integrity, and making sure that linebackers are where they need to be in their zones when he does break and understand when to come up. Because Caleb Williams has been a magician this year with manipulating defenses on the secondary play. So it'll be something the Rams have to be cautious of, but this defensive line for the Rams has the most important job in this football game.
Quentin Lake's got to play better.
Yeah.
Point blank. He was bad last week. Forbes has got to play better. You can't get beat on the inbreaker 5 times this game. I would ask you this, RC, because I know you're going next real quick. Well, I see so many blown coverages. Just blown assignments from this secondary. Why? What do you see on tape of why that's happening, that guys are so consistently in the wrong place?
Well, I think in zone, they're not tied in with one another. If the safety's doing one thing, the corner's doing something else. The underneath coverage is not in communication. And then there are also just some man-to-mans where the LA Rams are getting beat. When you go back to last week, I think they just showed the rail route by Coker. That's a zone coverage where they just rub Quentin Lake right off of Teteroa McMillan. And so it seems like when they are in zone, teams have found ways to pick them apart, and they just don't drop or align properly. And then they get beat when you talked about some of those deep crossers and those in-breakers we've seen from Emmanuel Forbes. Yeah. But if I'm the Chicago Bears, the thing I do early is I don't wait to involve DeAndre Swift and Colston Loveland when things seem dire. They need to start the football game with them getting touches. I think it's malpractice if Ben Johnson waits too long to get them involved in the game because, in my opinion, more so than any of the wide receivers, those are the 2 players that can create your explosive plays.
Talking about 2 quarterbacks who are excellent at comebacks, right? You got Matthew Stafford, the OG, and then the guy this year, Caleb Williams. No lead is safe.
This
and
the
this
gone.
is, no, it is not
this
a gone.
No.
No, it is not.
Oh, yes, y'all.
Why are we right, RC?
Yes.
Why are we right?
You know what? I've watched the Carolina Panthers score 31 twice. I saw the Seahawks put up 38. I saw Jacoby have a good day.
And we're joined by our chaperones here. We have Mina, Dan, and Swagoo in the Texas denim. He's bringing it today. All right, let's go, right? We're on the eve of the divisional games. We're going to talk first about Sam Darnold because this popped up this week. This surprise addition to the injury report, the oblique injury, listed as questionable for tomorrow's game against the Niners, but he has said he's good to go. Here's Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald with an update. This was just moments ago.
Talking about Sam, heard what he said yesterday to you guys. That's I see it the same way. So we're listing him as questionable. Really optimistic he's going to be able to play, and right now we're going through all the protocol one out of caution to make sure we're ready to go, and we'll test it out tomorrow to kind of make the final decision. But we're optimistic he's going to play, and if he doesn't, or at some point he doesn't, then Drew's ready to go, and that's why Drew's here. He's doing a great job.
All right, let's start with our quarterback, Dan. That oblique injury, how do you think that could potentially affect the game plan?
I think we'll know early on how significant this injury is, if at all, if Sam Darnold plays. I think, number one, how he moves and how he drives the football. We got to remember that this is a quarterback that doesn't play as a statue. In this offense with Clint Kubiak as their play caller, they move him around a ton. They boot him a ton. They keeper game a ton. They get him in the play action game. And so to be able to do that, obviously that oblique and their ability to turn and then get away from people is going to be a really big deal. So I would pay attention early on, play calling wise from Seattle. Are they doing that? And then I think the second thing is, can he drive the football? A lot of quarterbacks, when they drive the football, it's a torque. It's a complete turn of your upper body, really from the hips up. And so I think paying attention early on to just the play calls, do they fall in line with who Seattle is? Because I think if they do, that tells me they feel good about the injury. If they're a little bit more keeping him stationary, I think that oblique's got something to it.
Well, the good news is I don't believe it'll strain his oblique to do what I expect them to do very heavily in this game, which is he's going to hand the ball off to the running backs. The last time these teams played in Week 18, Seattle ran the ball very efficiently. They used 2 running backs, 21 personnel. They put the fullback on the field at the second highest rate of the season, and when they did so, for 11 yards, they averaged over 6 yards a clip. This Niners run defense is a glaring weakness. Now, this is where Dan's point about the boots comes in. They did hit on a couple of shot plays off of play action off of that. And Sam, they do tend to put him under center and boot him. And so that would be something you would want to keep an eye on, as Dan said, because at some point, the Niners are going to get, when the Seahawks put 21 personnel, the Niners are going to add an extra linebacker, and there will be opportunities to throw. But I do expect a very run-heavy game plan because it is what worked in Week 18, and I don't see this defense improving against it.
Yeah, MK, I agree with you. From the 2020 end, obviously, their plan should be the same, but this team has to get better in the red zone. This was a 13-3 game with some opportunities in that area of the field. Y'all not going to believe where Seattle ranks after Week 8 in the NFL in the red zone. They are 3rd worst to the Jets and the Saints. And I'm not sure if that's the inability to run. Obviously, the field gets condensed, but Sam Darnold has to make good decisions when they do call on him to make a play with this arm in the red zone, not take those negative plays, but more importantly, get points. I think that's going to be critical. I don't know if, like we saw the San Francisco defense a few weeks ago, and we didn't think that they would have a shot to do anything in the playoffs based on how they played against the Chicago Bears. This defense is playing better, and the red zone is one of their strengths. So Seattle has to pay close attention. I expect it to be a low-scoring game like it was the first time. But when they get in the red area, they got to capitalize and at least get in the end zone once or twice.
Yeah, I mean, both games, listen, you want to hit the under on this if you have the option. But because the games were so low scoring, Swagoo mentioned it, only 3 points on the board for the Niners 2 weeks ago. No George Kittle. What can they do?
I don't know. Kyle Shanahan better pull out his Ethan Hunt bag because this does feel like mission impossible for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, we watched last week, and Kyle Shanahan was able to do that. But the difference between Vic Fangio's defense and Mike McDonald's is I knew exactly, and they knew exactly where Vic Fangio's defense would line up. He knew DeMarcus Robinson would have that opportunity for that one-on-one, or Juwan Jennings could find the space within the three deep zone. It's not the same thing this week. And so how do you get Kyle Juszczyk involved, as we saw in the second half? Christian McCaffrey free of guys like Nick Emanwari and also backers who can run sideline to sideline and tackle. The difficulty in this game is you do not have the matchup in your favor anywhere but the running back position. And I would have to guess for Mike McDonald, he would have everyone keyed in on CMC.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll see a Jennings to CMC fun, some trickeration like we did last week. But let's check out our picks. And I hate to make you nervous, Mina, but
not nervous at all.
No.
Off the jump.
Okay. So, we're all, this is the gong. We're all, there it is.
Very comfortable.
Gong is a little late, you know? on this.
Yeah,
one.
I mean, because we've done so well with the gong this year.
Have we?
I don't think it's as much of an issue as it used to be. And if we're all wrong here, then football's all flubbed up.
And if we're all wrong, the Niners have pulled off the impossible yet again. All right, the Hawks just a win away from their 5th conference championship game. They haven't been there since 2014. Okay, time now for some top stories. Starting in H-Town, Texans wide receiver Nico Collins has been ruled out for Sunday's game at the Patriots due to a concussion. Oh, no. Collins led Houston in catches, receiving yards, tied for the team lead for receiving touchdowns. RC said huge. Is it absolutely? That is a huge, huge loss. Okay, Mike Vrabel said Patriots cornerback Christian Gonzalez is questionable heading into their matchup with the Texans. Gonzalez suffered a concussion in their win last week against the Chargers. And then we go to Los Angeles, where Matthew Stafford is dealing with a sprained right index finger. He is expected to play after being a full participant in practice all week. Good news for the Rams. Starting right guard Kevin Dotson is expected to start in this one. That's important. He missed the last 3 games with an ankle injury. And, well, Stafford's throwing hand that could be tested Sunday. It's going to be the coldest game, by the way, of his NFL career. The kickoff at Soldier Field is expected to be 21 degrees. It's going to feel like zero with the wind chill. What did you say?
Jesus!
Yeah. Wind gusts could get, I thought that's what you said, over 25 miles an hour. There is a 55% chance of snow. And Matthew Stafford has not played in freezing temperatures very much, only 6 starts. Pretty well, though, 14 passing touchdowns, 3 picks, 3-3 record. Here's his head coach, Sean McVay, on the game plan for the weather.
I'm going shirtless, Gary. No, you know what? I will say this. Matthew, since he got here, he introduced me to the wetsuit stuff, so I'll wear that. Maybe I'll have a heated vest. You know, I've had some guys that have had that, so I try. Here's what I do know. I can't think about too many things. I trust whatever Brennan Berger's got ready for me. I'm going to actually get with him after we get done with practice today. He'll show me everything that he's got. Usually it's a thumbs up, and so it's not going to – hey, listen, I don't give a crap about me being warm or cold. That doesn't matter at all. It's about our players, but Berg takes good care of me.
Shout out to Brendan Berger, the Rams Senior Director of Equipment, getting
Look at Marcus's face. Look at Marcus's face. What's wrong with your face, man?
Are you just thinking
He's so scared of cold.
Brother.
Yeah.
Brother,
Not for you.
Y'all know how I feel about this.
Marcus,
we
got
had
to
a
get
game,
scuba
we had
suits.
A game
You and
last
me,
year.
matching scuba suits.
We had a game last year in Kansas City. You're not supposed to play in this. I will stand on that hill and down that hill. You are not supposed to play in anything that feels like 0 degrees.
Oh, my gosh.
Postpone the game.
The first time I met RC was in that 2010
Miserable.
It was the Ice Bowl in Dallas, and you were walking around in a sleeveless shirt.
Yeah, because it was early. I wasn't expecting that.
You were trying to prove he was tough.
Nobody had bought coats. We were all scrambling for coats down there. This is a tough challenge for that Bears defense, because you know what is going to heat up? That's that Rams offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this game is about personnel and identity. And I know Mina will understand this as well. You watch the Chicago Bears really shift identity in the second half of this game against the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. And we also saw the Carolina Panthers do the exact same thing against the Rams last week. They brought more pressure than normal. They played more man-to-man on the back end than normal. And so I'm wondering who Dennis Allen will want his team to be throughout this game. And I think the other thing that's going to be big, especially when I see the weather, is matching up against the Rams' 13 personnel. They can do everything out of 13 personnel. Run the ball, play action, involve Puka Nacua in quick screens, and also deep passing down the field and through play action. And so to me, it's going to be Dennis Allen's ability to stay sort of up to beat with Sean McVay and what he wants to do with his personnel, starting with Puka Nacua.
RC, when you saw that it was going to be 0 degrees, you said, Jesus. There's a verse in the Bible, Matthew 18, that says, where 2 or 3 or more are gathered, I am there.
I am there.
They better gather 2 people.
I am there. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
How do you gather enough to stop Puka? Because I think the thing that makes him so challenging is the way that Sean moves. Does he try to double him up in the field of play? Not in the red zone, maybe, but does he try to double team Puka 20-20 to try to force Matthew Stafford, Devontae in the middle of the field, or some of those tight ends. But you better put bodies on him, and you better tackle him once he gets the ball.
I ain't gonna lie, D.O., you right. It ain't gonna be, but I know one person not gonna be worried about the cold. I don't think Puka Nacua cares whether it's 100 or 0. It's just what we know about
if it's
him.
cold or not.
You don't know.
Yeah, like
He does not know.
Yeah, Puka don't care.
But I think about the Carolina Panthers game, and you look at the Rams, and they kind of got back to what people forget sometimes can be their identity. RC, you mentioned 13 personnel, but when this team had to have a drive in the fourth quarter, they went to the ground game and they stayed with it. It's almost like Sean McVay was like, look, we're going to possess the football of what you get. Now you get an angle route from Kyron Williams because you've now baited the defense and you get 6 on the drive that they had to have. So I think, with the weather and the wind gusts, more importantly, you see the quick screen game. You see getting the ball out of Matt's hands quick and let guys make run after catch. But more importantly, don't forget that this team's staple at times can be a physical run game. Yeah. And I think you got to carry that with all of the conditions.
Yeah, look, Dan, I obviously don't know the Bible as well as you, but I do know another verse in Matthew myself. That is the Lord's Prayer, and that's what Dennis Allen is going to have to lean on to stop this 13 personnel run game, guys, because it is such a mismatch. When the Rams put multiple...
You got to pray.
It is in Matthew, right?
Pray in this way.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, because when they put 3 tight ends on the field, we cannot stop them. Statistically, the Rams have the best success rate in football. The Bears' defense, when teams put... I'm trying to stay serious. When teams put multiple tight ends on the field, one of the worst. When they especially love what they do with Blake Corum running off tackle on those duo runs. And Ryan, you referenced the game plan against Green Bay. They started crashing the edges. If they try to do that against this blocking group, I just don't see it ending well. I think we're going to see a lot of the ground game, especially with the weather, and I think the Rams are going to have a lot of success.
I mean, we're saying prayers.
I'm passing the collection
candles.
plate after this show.
The collection plate.
Where's Drewski?
On NFL Live, an update from Adam Schefter. The Giants and John Harbaugh are still working through the details of their contract, and it's not yet done, per sources. The final issues are not over money, it's over language. There's no derailment, and nothing has changed, one source said. Talks continue, and the two sides are working to get it across the finish line, and you can certainly see why the Giants want to get this done. New York and Baltimore, different paths since Harbaugh got that Ravens job back in the day in 2008. Baltimore has run roughly 20% more of their games than the G-Men, 3 times as many playoff appearances, but of course only 1 Super Bowl. The Giants won 2 under Tom Coughlin. Swagoo, how do you like this Harbaugh fit in New York?
I like it. Look, knowns are always a plus in the NFL, and we know that John Harbaugh is a really good coach. We know that he's organized. We know that he's had a tremendous amount of success in his previous stay, and it feels like the Giants have been in this revolving cycle of trying to figure out who that guy would be. The contract probably is going to be built in order for him to build this team and give him enough time to do so. So I like the hire. Everybody I thought would be a fan of wherever John Harbaugh decided to go, but it feels right in New York. It feels like a coach that's older in his tenure. He has cachet, and more importantly, stability in this organization, and a coach that can walk into Joe Schoen office and say, I need this without any pushback.
Yeah, part of the reason why I like this hire was Harbaugh's record when it comes to putting a staff together. His track record, he has many contacts, obviously people he's worked with around the league. I think the defensive coordinator hire is massive. Obviously offense working with Jackson Dart, but this was a defense that really underperformed its talent level. Now I do think they need to make additions, particularly on the back end, but something you saw last year was regression, both on the part of some younger players and also some of the free agent signings they made. So I want to bring in someone who can not only coach the new players they add, and they will add them, but also elevate some of the existing ones. I've seen Anthony Weaver in Miami being thrown out as a possible name. I would love that. if I'm a Giants fan, because I think he did just that in Miami. But to me, that's a very key hire, and it's one that I do trust John Harbaugh to make.
Yeah, and listen, they compiled one of the best rosters in all of football, as now we pivot to another team that we thought had one of the best rosters in all of football, but both teams underperforming from where we thought they would be. We're talking about Philly. GM Howie Roseman asked if he would actually be open to trading A.J. Brown this offseason.
It is hard to find great players in the NFL, and A.J. is a great player. I think from my perspective, that's what we're going out and looking for when we go out here in free agency in the draft, is trying to find great players who love football, and he's that guy. So I think that would be my answer.
Okay, Dano, can this relationship be fixed?
Of course it can be fixed. I think Howie Roseman completely understands the reality of how rare of a physical talent A.J. Brown is, but I'll use his words. He says he's a great player. A.J. Brown had a career low in yards per catch this year at 12.9. So Howie Roseman has to answer the question of why. Why was that the case this year? Is that because the player has fell off? Is that because the quarterback didn't perform to the proper level? Is it because the offensive coordinator was fired? And if the new offensive coordinator comes in, do they believe A.J. can get back to that 15 yards per catch type of receiver? If they do, I think you try and keep him, but he's going to want out if not.
Yeah, talking about an important hire, that OC hire. All right, let's go to Kansas City, where quarterback Patrick Mahomes spoke yesterday for the first time since suffering that torn ACL.
It's been going great. I mean, obviously, I think the long-term, I want to be ready for week one. Doctor said that I could be, but I can't predict what's going to happen throughout the process. But that's my goal, and so I'll try to prepare myself to be ready to play in that week one and have no restrictions. You know, you want to be out there healthy and giving us the best chance to win. And so, obviously, hopefully be able to do some stuff in OTAs and then get to training camp and hopefully be able to do a lot there. So I'm excited for the process. It's a long process, but I'm excited for it.
So, RC, let's say he's back by week one. How good can they be next season?
Well, I think the Kansas City Chiefs have to reformulate how they approach football. They need to build protection around Patrick Mahomes, which they have been trying to do. We obviously have to wait for Travis Kelce to make a decision, and I still believe they need a running back in the backfield that can make a difference, like a Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame.
There you go.
If you can get some of those things around Patrick Mahomes to take some of the pressure off of him being Superman each and every week, then I think this team could be good because we know what he's made of, and also head coach Andy Reid.
Jeremiah Love to Kansas from injured reserve. They're both expected to play Saturday at Denver. Oliver is making a return after being placed on IR following week 8. So welcome back as we turn to Josh Allen and the Bills. Top seed Denver is who they're facing in that divisional round tomorrow. And Allen's been real good in the wild card round, as you know. Has not found the same success in later rounds. Just 2-5 as a starter, 6 fewer pass attempts, 2 fewer yards per pass attempt. So, RC, get that Superman cape dry cleaned and ready again, right? What does he need to do?
I mean, right now he's screaming like Kevin Hart, help me! But what he's asking for in that help is Joe Brady, James Cook, and the running backs. Can we get this run game going against a very stout Denver defense? We didn't see that last week, but we saw Josh be able to create some deep throws with Brandon Cooks and obviously Dalton Kincaid on the screen and go. That's going to be less available this week. Normally it's where's 21 on the other side because you have a matchup win there. They don't really have that this week with the Buffalo Bills, and so it has to start with the run game. And for me, I want to see half rolls and boots and meshes to get Josh out of the pocket, but also create some easier throws by running some of these players through the traffic and attacking the linebackers with the tight end position, which going into this week probably has Josh's best pass catchers.
Yeah, a lot of folks don't necessarily trust Bo Nix yet, right? Yeah. Because of the inconsistency.
Well, I think that's the point you made, though, about the divisional round.
Right.
Normally in the divisional round, guys like Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes are waiting. They aren't there this week.
Yeah, and so, Mina, on the other side, give me the blueprint, okay, for this Broncos offense.
Run the damn ball. It's not that complicated. I mean, last week, I'm telling you, every Bills fan on earth was thrilled that the Jags stopped handing it back off to their running backs because they were gashing them. I do think Ed Oliver returning could potentially help this Bills run defense, but to be blunt, they have not been good for the entire NFL season. And the Broncos run game, while not particularly flashy, has improved as the season has gone along, particularly in efficiency. I do think Jaleel McLaughlin adds a little bit of juice to that backfield. I think the Broncos have very underrated skill players when it comes to blocking. So if the Bills play them light, they'll be able to move bodies. And I think Bo Nix adds to that. Dan, we've seen so often this Bills team in the red zone struggle when quarterbacks use the option, the edges crash, and there's opportunities there. So I think Bo Nix using his legs will also be a part of that. But if I'm Sean Payton, I'm going very run heavy given the opponent.
Well, I understand the run heavy given the opponent. I also go a little bit run heavy because I think that this is a bad matchup pass game for the Broncos offense, Bills defense. They're going to make Bo Nix look at so many different things.
Yes.
He struggles when he has to think. Like, that's it. That's the truth, okay? So the less that you're asking him to think and read against all these different zones and cover changes, I think better. Two things that I also agree with Mino when it comes to their run game that I would pay attention to. How many different things they get into their 4x1 personnel and utilize. And then I agree, MK, like, while Jacksonville ran the football on the perimeter well, one of the things that's part of this Denver offense is they want to get the ball to the perimeter now.
Yeah.
These RPOs, these 4x1 perimeter screens. I think you can live in that world a little bit where it may not be this downhill, quote-unquote, perimeter run game, but I still think getting the ball out on the perimeter quickly is a big deal. But I think a huge part of this is if Sean Payton asks Bo Nix to dissect this defense and diagnose this Buffalo defense, I think you set him up to fail.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Ed Oliver is coming back. Swagoo, we saw you perk up a little bit at that news. What kind of difference do you think that makes? There you go.
Well, look, if he's fully healthy, and I'm assuming that he can do a lot and be close to who Ed Oliver is, hopefully it's fresh legs as opposed to being a little bit rusty by not being on the field. But more importantly, we saw this Buffalo Bills defense last week thrive on big plays. That's how they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars from a defensive standpoint. They made a bunch of big plays. So when you think about having Ed Oliver back, not only should it help you in the run game, but one of the issues for this Buffalo team has been interior pressure. And in order to get Bo Nix moving off of his spot when they do try to drop him straight back, I think this goes a long way. Y'all know how I feel about three techniques in the playoffs in critical down and distance situations. So if Ed Oliver can come back and be who Ed Oliver was before this injury, this is a major boost to this defense, because last week we saw the reincarnated Tre'Davious White come through with huge play after play after play for this defense. Now you add another guy into the mix, and I think Ed Oliver can be a difference maker if he can really go.
You know what I like what Dan does? Because he talks with his hands out here and slow, he was basically like, don't try to make Bo Nix be smart. But the way he said it was so football-y, and X's and O's, it was cool.
He struggles when he has to think, Ryan.
That's pretty clear. The tape is what the tape is.
I'm a fan of the young man. That he's better when he reacts.
He gets confused.
Better when he reacts.
Yes.
Okay. Let's
oh,
take
baby.
a look.
That's what my grandma.
Our AFC divisional round matchup is set for Sunday afternoon. C.J. Stroud and the Texans taking on Drake May and the Pats. 2:45 Eastern on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. And the coverage begins with Swagoo and RC and the postseason NFL Countdown crew, starting at noon Eastern on ESPN. And this is new on NFL Live. Good news now for New England, and this is definitive. Patriots cornerback Christian Gonzalez has cleared the concussion protocol and is expected to play Sunday against the Texans. And Drake May and company got a real good look at that Texans defense and what they can do on Monday night. Since DeMeco Ryans became Houston's head coach in 2023, the Texans have 5 defensive touchdowns in the playoffs. They had 2 at the Steelers in the wild card, more than the rest of the NFL combined. Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel spoke moments ago about facing this Houston defense.
No, man, we want to try to be as precise as possible. We haven't talked one time about being perfect since I've been here. You know, we're we're aiming for success and not perfection. Nobody's going to be perfect. We're going to need to be precise. We know how critical taking care of the football is in every game, especially against a team that's plus 16 in the turnover margin. But I've never once said that we have to be perfect at anything.
You don't necessarily need to be perfect. You do need to be precise, but every now and then you need to be able to go above and beyond the X's and O's with athleticism. Let's look at the different ways the Houston Texans can get people around the ball and why Drake May being able to run, utilize his legs, will be huge. Here you see the Houston Texans. They're going to go strong with 3 people to the right side of the line of scrimmage. They know that that's going to make the Pittsburgh Steelers bring a man here, bring a man here, bring a man here, bring one here, and block out, which is going to leave Will Anderson one-on-one with the tackle. And what we're going to get from the Houston Texans is this. We're going to get Sheldon Rankins going to get his one-on-one here, and then Will Anderson is going to attack on the outside, and this is how they get multiple hats to the quarterback. Now, you see on the rush, you have exactly what you want if you're DeMeco Ryans' defense, a one-on-one here with Sheldon Rankins using his power rush and bulldozing and bull rushing the guard. And now Will Anderson Jr. on the outside using his speed to get to the quarterback. Now, they make the play, and I'm going to pause this just for Marcus, right? When we pause it, let's go back a little bit, and let's look at Sheldon Rankins. He's not a guy that's bending just at the waist. Look at the knees. Look at the hips. Look at the ankles. That's the type of athleticism that we get from the BMBs. And now he gets the ball. He gets it to the end zone. And that's 2 weeks in a row. D tackles of the Houston Texans have been in the end zone. Now we're going to watch the Los Angeles Chargers rush Drake May. You're going to get a tackle stunt here, and it's going to be a pick, which is going to get one of those guys free to the inside and another to the out. Now, you see when we get the junk here is going to allow him to get free, and now we'll get right to the quarterback. Watch Drake May maneuver in this pocket and get out of this. This looks like a dead quarterback, a quarterback that shouldn't be able to make a play. He will have some of these situations against the Houston Texans. With his athleticism, breaks 2 tackles, gets out of the box, and now he gets a gain of 8 yards, almost a first down. Later in that drive was a touchdown pass to Hunter Henry. If Drake May can make some of these plays against the Houston Texans, they struggled against quarterbacks that can utilize their legs.
Well done. Swagoo, your thoughts?
That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. I have such great feelings because the defensive line was put on display by DB. That's number one. We are absolutely making strides as the big fellas. But I agree. I agree, RC. I agree. The secondary play is how you beat the Houston Texans. You're not going to line straight up and go down the field on this football team. We've seen enough of the sample size and enough of the work to understand that it's going to take special plays in order for you to have success. They played Josh Allen earlier in the season. Josh Allen only had 1 run that went over 5 yards. It was a 14-yard scramble in the 4th quarter on a critical down, and that was because the edge was messed up after Will Anderson took an inside pass. So I 100% here it is right here with the Josh Allen play. This is how you're going to have to play as a quarterback. This is not going to be one of those. This will be Drake May's hardest NFL game he's ever played in his life. And it's not because of complication. It's because of the talent. It's because of the speed. And it is because how these guys run to the football. And when they get there, it is bad intentions. Y'all, this game was 30-6. This game from the Houston Texans ended in a score of 30-6. And might I say that the Houston Texans offense wasn't explosive. So that lets you know all you need to know about what this defense can do in a game, and you just got to make sure that they don't wreck it.
Not explosive. How about how many times they turned the ball over and they still had that score? Listen, Patriots D-line's coming off a big game too, Dan. All right, so which team is better equipped to handle that battle up front in this one?
Yeah, honestly, out of respect to Houston, I say New England. And I think there's a little pressure on Matt Burke, the defensive coordinator for the Texans. This is going to be Josh McDaniels' 23rd playoff game that he's calling, the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. And I love the touchscreen and the overload front that you design. The one thing that I have absolutely loved about New England this year is every play starts with, how do we protect it? How do we protect it? And so I've talked about all season long, the tight end in the back and the chip and the chip and the chip. Sometimes they're in the backfield, the double tight ends. And so I think Josh McDaniels having the understanding of, I'm not letting these edge rushers ruin this football game. Easier said than done. I agree and understand. But I do think that he's got at least the experience. On the flip side, we watched Milton Williams for New England start to take the game over last week. Nick Caley, I want to see Nick Caley, who's the play caller for the Houston Texans, how he handles Milton Williams. Because this is probably the best defensive tackle, at least that they've played from a pass rush perspective, in a while. And you got to have plans for guys like this. This is not just we take the paper says the right guard blocks the left defensive tackle. No. And so I trust Josh McDaniels to have a good plan. I want to see what Nick Caley dials up when it comes to how he handles Milton Williams in obvious pass situations.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of jumbo in this game. Yeah. A lot. Because first of all, to go back to your guys' discussion, I think both defensive lines have a matchup advantage here against both offensive lines. And I think both of these teams have used jumbo, 6 offensive linemen, to great effect. In the last round, the Houston Texans, when they put a 6 offensive lineman on the field, they ran the ball really well. 15 carries, 6.4 yards per attempt. This is not a great run game, but it looked like it against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Patriots are not a significantly better run defense, by the way. And then on the flip side, Drake May, both of his explosive throws downfield came out of 6 offensive lineman looks. Thayer Munford is the guy that they put on to match that. So I think both teams will try to use it to mitigate that advantage to some degree, because I think Houston has to find a way to run the ball, and I think New England has to find a way to throw the ball downfield to make this one close, because as we saw, throwing short against the Houston Texans is not a recipe for success.
Let's take a look at our picks in this one. I got to say, I was surprised. We are all
No way.
No way. Oh, no.
Change mine. Change mine.
I know.
Change mine.
I know. No. Once the gong is in, it's fine.
What? None of y'all took New England.
No. Lydell got my paper wrong.
Mina's gone.
Lydell, did you get my paper?
Mina,
it says right here. It says right here. Ryan told
this
Lydell
is so close.
Patriots. No, it says
it. No, it doesn't.
Hannah, it says
I thought when Nico Collins was ruled out, everybody would change it but me. I hate this.
I know. Oh, my gosh. You guys, the Texans.
This is bad.
No,
this is bad. This is bad,
you guys, no Houston
this is
team
bad,
has been to a conference championship game
since
the Oilers in 1979. Love you,
New England fans are going to be mad at us.
I mean, we can't do this to H-Town.
Me and Marcus got to go to Fox.
I'm changing my pick, Mark. I'm changing my pick.